Welcome to the California Maverick, a channel fighting for a free and sane California. California just signed the most egregious bill into law. Assembly Bill 495, the Family Preparedness Plan Act of 2025. It has nothing to do with family preparedness. It compromises the safety and well-being of our most vulnerable, our children. We got a lot to go over.
Making its way through the state legislature would streamline processes for temporary guardianship, and caregiver arrangements for children.
Yeah, it's called the Family Preparedness Act of 2025. The bill's author wrote it in response to immigration enforcement actions that could cause parents being separated from their kids. The bill creates a new process for short-term guardianships in probate court. Now, this allows parents to designate someone to care for their children temporarily while maintaining their parental rights. The proposal broadens the definition of non-relative extended family member, and that means that they can receive an authorization affidavit. It also limits the extent to which schools and child care facilities can cooperate with immigration enforcement. Supporters say that the bill gives caregivers legal recognition and children access to essential services without interruption. Opponents are raising concerns about the bill's potential to weaken parental rights and create some loopholes for child custody transfers. It's set to be heard in the Senate Appropriations Committee later this month. It already passed the state assembly.
Hey, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. It helps me out a lot and I will greatly appreciate it. Now on to the video. California Assembly Bill 495, AB 95, the Family Preparedness Plan Act of 2025. I swear the names these Democrats give these bills here in California, it makes my head spin. It's always something like the Fluffy Kitty and Rainbows Act, and it does something completely different. Anyway, AB 495 is being pushed by Democrats in Sacramento as a way to help families in crisis, and it's being sold under the guise of protecting illegal migrant families or undocumented families who are facing deportation and they need someone else to pick up their kids from school. There's a lot to unpack there with that sentence alone. But the bill doesn't stop at illegal migrant families or their children. It applies to all children who attend school, citizens and non-citizens. Number one, you have people who are in this country illegally or undocumented who aren't even supposed to be here, having kids in a school system that they don't even pay for. And you have this bill that is passively obstructing law enforcement from executing their duties by protecting or allowing these undocumented parents to hide from law enforcement officers. AB 95 also expands who can be a temporary caregiver for the children, and it expands the definition of a person, B, a non-relative, C, a relative, and D, school-related medical care. I'm going to briefly go over these definitions. A person includes an individual, corporation, partnership, association, the state, or any city and county, or other public entity or governmental subdivision or agency or any other legal entity. That's a really broad definition for a person. It basically means anyone or anything. A non-relative, extended family member means any adult caregiver who has an established familial or mentoring relationship with the child, or who has an established familial relationship with a relative of the child. Again, literally anybody. And the definition of relative means any adult who is related to the child by blood, adoption, or affinity with the fifth degree of kinship, including all step-parents, step-siblings, and all relatives whose status is preceded by the words great, great-great, or grand, or the spouse of any person specified in this definition, even after the marriage has been terminated by death or dissolution. So if there's a restraining order because of an abusive relationship or what have you, it doesn't matter. They can still take him. And you're probably asking, well, how can they take him with a restraining order? Or they have to show proof of identity or relation. The bill explicitly states there is no need for a background check. There is no need for an ID, a driver's license, nothing. There's also no requirement for the school to contact the parent or legal guardians to notify them or confirm the identity of this person who's picking up their child. This is all to protect the immigration status of these people, even though this is applicable to citizens as well.
The meat market bill, it is a trafficking bill. It is unbelievable. So much so, don't believe me. Go to realimpact.us. It allows an individual to obtain this new form that comes with the bill. They fill it out, and they can name a child. John goes to a school in California and says, I have this form, and I am asking for Susie Q to be received into my custody. I want to take her out of school. The bill does not require a background check for this man, requires no identification, no driver's license, no nothing. There's no requirement in the bill for the school to call you to ask you if it's okay if John takes your daughter out of school. If this bill passes, I am going to ask you to leave the state of California. You're going to need to pack up and you're going to have to get out. You got to get out. You got to run with your kids. You got to go.
Section 3 of the bill literally says, except as required by state or federal law or as required to administer a state or federal supported educational program. School officials and employees of local educational agency shall not collect information or documents regarding citizenship or immigration status of pupils or their family members. Now there's a form, an affidavit that these parents or these family members or mentors or God knows who they are have to fill out, but there isn't any type of verification. It doesn't need a court order. It doesn't need to be notarized. It doesn't need parental signature. Again, no background checks, no verification. This person can just fill this affidavit and say, I'm this person, I'm gonna take the child. Of course, there can be charges of perjury, but at that point, without notifying the parents, without confirming the identity, by the time the parents or the guardians find out the child is long gone, or God forbid the damage and the trauma have already been done, or God forbid you have one of these lunatic, crazy, vile, disgusting teachers that grooms a child into having these medical procedures or this medical care without parents knowing, which is also protected by a bill that Newsom signed in 2022. Or not just medical care, but also committing and conducting even more vile acts with these children. This bill opens up the floodgates and leaves our most vulnerable, our children, susceptible to all kinds of illegal activity, trafficking, predators, and all without the knowledge or consent of their parents. And it goes even further than just taking the child without the parents' consent. The affidavit allows these caregivers the power to consent to non-school related medical care. That means any type of medical care, medical, dental, and mental health care. And that's what these Democrats really want, which is vile and sickening, is gender-affirming care for minors, puberty blockers, hormones, or surgeries, all without the knowledge or consent of these parents. This is just pure evil. Now, supporters of the bill say that parents can override these decisions and they can stop them from happening. But how is that even possible if they're not even notified that these people are taking these children or these people are administering these procedures or this medical care? The parents don't even know. It's without their knowledge or consent. So how can they prevent it from happening when there's no knowledge of it? And just to provide a little bit of proof, if you don't believe me about the transgender care, California Senator Scott Wayner, one of AB 495's biggest advocates and I think maybe co-authors, is trying to pass another bill to protect transgender medical providers. And he's been quite open about his support and advocacy for gender-affirming care for minors. What's really frustrating about this is that the California liberal media, the propaganda machine here in California, doesn't even talk about it, doesn't even mention it. And I know for a fact, even here in deep blue California, most parents are against this type of stuff with their kids, especially the gender-affirming care. The people who support this are Democrat politicians and the very far left loud minority. But the liberal media, the propaganda machine here in California, knows it's unpopular, knows it compromises a Democrat stronghold in this state, so they run cover for them and they don't even talk about it. Unfortunately, there's really not much we can do. We're at the mercy of teachers' unions and the public school system. The best thing you can do if you're at the mercy of the system here in California is to be involved in your child's life. Be constantly there, be constantly present. The second thing you can do, if you are capable of doing it, is homeschooling. That is a great option, at least till they get a little bit older, maybe 7th, 8th grade. And you could also try, again, this is a luxury, if you can do it, send them to a private school. And with private schools, it opens up all these options. You can even choose where to send your child. You pick, because you choose if you want to pay this school to educate your child or not. Or lastly, you can do what a lot of people have done and have left the state. I just pray for the safety and protection of our children. If you like this video, leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.